check. Check. 1 2 1 2 in the place to be. We are live on YouTube. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Everybody on Instagram, what up? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me on Instagram. You feel me? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me on YouTube. Hey, what's up, sweet? If y'all can hear me on YouTube, put a 1 in the chat. What's going? What going? Can y'all hear me over on YouTube? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me on YouTube. Yes, looks like it's all good. Loki, what's up, Loki? We live on YouTube. We live on Twitch. Heaven Hollywood. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Over on YouTube, it is the IE Network. All right. So what is going on here? What's up, Sexy 60? What's up to my right hand, Darius? We about to get it popping, man. We got some good stuff to talk about. Has Nicki Minaj gone full Maga? We're going to get into some of the responses from some of her fans, but you know, Nicki Minaj is very popular, so it's not going to be like that with all her fans. But we're going to get into the response to some of her fan base. Cardi B is putting out a new collab with, it was a remix with Young Jeezy, the Snowman. We'll talk about how that came about. And Tory Lanez, appeal denied. And we're going to get into why Tory Lanez lost in the first place. I've never really gotten to giving my take on that. I kind of just let things with Tory Lanez go as they are. But I'm kind of like, you know what? Let's get into why Tory Lanez, why his appeal failed, and why we're even here. Why did he lose? With the mountain of evidence that his fan base says is out there, and the video cam and Megan clearly stepped on glass. This is what they're saying, not what I'm saying. Megan clearly stepped on glass, and you heard the after she stepped out onto the ground, and she had a knot on her head, and the guy said that he saw Megan and fighting. Why didn't that go his way? We're going to get into that. All right? So, without further ado, wonder why Rihanna didn't go to that party. I'll tell you about Rihanna. We'll get into that. Why Rihanna didn't go to the Kris Jenner party? We'll definitely get into that. So, without further ado, man, it's your boy, Heaven Hollywood. Welcome to the Heaven Hollywood Experience. Let's go.
I can see something. I can. Look, one way or another, we gon' get our family up about together. Brother, you was out of pocket, no, I didn't stutter. I drop it back in the trap when investing in the streets, your treasures recover. In this world, you could only rep one or two things that come to the butter. Whoa, you only rep one or two things is the guns and the butter. Whoa, you only rep one or two things is the guns and the butter. I drop it back in the trap when investing in the streets, your treasures recover. In this world, you could only rep one or two things that come to the butter. Sleeping patterns kinda complicated, ain't no time for wasting, we some entrepreneurs. I feeling like Scarface on top of the balcony, the word is yours. Took some losses, I was down bad. Napoleon complex, I'm mad. About to put the cam up in the clad bag. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Chicken dinners or you roll with the winners. Taking over for the summer. I double back for the winter. I be with the scammers and spinners. Innovators in the middleman. All my riders got a dental plan. None of my shooters got Instagrams. Bang, bang. Got some rich headed out of bounds. Had to hop in the Renty to ride around. About to switch the whiskers, they stalking now. Whispering body dropping on my side of town. Flick of finesse, known to stay up out the mess. Business is never personal. We can politic the rest. I got a plug and they made me a plug. All my moves on they need to know. Rapper weed got me speaking slow. Bet you pay attention when we speaking up. Drip or drown, you gon' sink or you swim. In the field, we be getting it in. Type of pressure that took boys and the men. Fly gotta feel me back at it again. Yeah. Me up about to get her. Brother, you was out of pocket. No, I didn't stutter. I drop it back in the trap when investing in the streets, your treasures recover. In this world, you could only rep one or two things that come to the butter. Whoa, you only rep one or two things that the guns in the butter. Whoa, you only rep one or two things that the guns in the butter.
That's your boy, Heaven Hollywood, Funky Fresh in the flesh. Shout out to all the heavy hitters. Shout out to everybody out there, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook. Join us over on YouTube at the IE Network. What's up to Miss Queenie chilling on Instagram? If you can't make it over to YouTube, you can stay on Instagram. No Biggie. No Nas, no Jay-Z. Stay where you feel comfortable. All right? So, going to share my screen here. Have to edit my right there. So, we're going to be touching on a couple of things today. Shout out to No Call ID, The Real Jazzy Queen H, Loki. We're going to be talking about Nicki Minaj going full Maga, and some of the fans are upset. Me personally, you see my videos, I could care less. I don't really care about who celebrities vote for, never did. I think it's all cap and BS anyway, just to push whatever way they want to go at that point in time. But me, myself, unless I see them actually out voting for the person, I don't take it very serious. That's just me personally. I don't take what celebrities say they're voting for personally, unless I see them myself voting. Now, the ones who don't say anything, to me, I've always said they're Republican. They're Republican because usually the ones who are Democrat, they'll come out every year and say, oh, I'm Democrat or whatever, and you see them arguing with Trump, or Trump will have say something against them or whatever. People like LeBron James, people like Taylor Swift, who he came out with, right? But if you notice, Jay-Z is so-called, what's up, iPurple? Jay-Z is so-called Democrat or whatever, right? But if you notice, every single year, Trump never says anything to Jay-Z. He says stuff about Beyonce. He's criticized Beyonce. He's criticized Taylor Swift. But if you notice, he never said anything about Jay-Z. He criticized Puffy. Oh, Puffy said some nasty things about me. Jay-Z also said some nasty things about Trump. But Trump has never come out and said anything about Jay-Z. You never noticed that? So to me, the way I look at it is all of these celebrities, until proven different, to me, they are all Republicans. That's just the way I look at it. They're all Republicans. And why? And especially a Trump supporter, because why do I say that? Well, Republicans are generally for the rich. And all of these celebrities are rich. And they all want a tax bracket, and they all want a tax break. So they know that the Republican is going to be the one to get them that tax break. That's why I never think of celebrities as Democrats, especially the ones that don't say anything. It's kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm benefiting from the fact that, you know, I mentioned Trump in a couple of records, right? And at the same time, he's let me stay free in the Trump hotel. I've gotten a discount. So I ain't saying S about Trump. To me, most of the people say someone like a Nicki Minaj, who has never really stated her public stance. I know a while ago she said, oh, she can't vote anyway. But she has publicly supported Trump. So it's like, even though you're not really voting, they're using you, right? You're helping out the party that you're speaking on. Because it's coming across, everybody don't know that you can't vote. So it looks like you are sticking up for that particular party. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into all those things, but we're going to have to start it off. Let's start it off with Tory Lanez, then we'll get into Cardi B, and then Nicki Minaj. Now, Tory Lanez lost his appeal, lost his chance for appeal. And just for the people on Instagram, coming over to the IE Network, the IE Network on YouTube, if you can, if you cannot, if it's better for you to stay on Instagram and you don't want to miss the show, well, then stay on Instagram. Stay wherever is more comfortable for you. If you want to go on Twitch, you can check us out on Twitch. Right? Now, I have been hearing over the last couple of months, I've been hearing all the Tory Lanez fans tell me that he was getting out. It got to the point where Megan Thee Stallion fans had kind of turned on me, because I'm not going to lie. The way Tory had the Republican governor or whatever she is came out and she was tweeting Gavin Newsom, and she was, you know, she was down with Trump, and she was saying how she's going to forward this to Trump. Now, Trump can't pardon Tory Lanez. I thought, is Tory Lanez case state? The Tory Lanez case is state. So Trump can't pardon Tory Lanez, if I'm not mistaken. Tory Lanez, it wasn't the USA versus Tory Lanez. Somebody please, my moderator, Darius, please confirm that for me, or anyone else in there. I believe it was the state of California, or somebody on Instagram. Who, was it the state of California versus Tory Lanez, or was it the United States versus Tory Lanez? I believe it was the state of California. Somebody anywhere can confirm that for me. If it's state, they can't they cannot pardon him. Right? What's up, Angelic guys? It's state. So it has to be federal. So he couldn't get pardoned anyway. But I believe a governor would have to pardon him. So I believe that's why she was going to Newsom to have Newsom pardon him. What's up, Angelica, guys? So you can forget that. But they had me so gassed. Thank you, Darius. They had me so gassed that I thought Tory was going to win an appeal. And I went live and I said, Tory Lanez is going to win his appeal. Well, the Megan Thee Stallion fans, just because I was giving my opinion, Megan Thee Stallion fans turned on me and said, oh, so now you're rooting for Tory to get an appeal? Let's be very clear. I was never rooting for Tory Lanez to go to jail. Never. I was never rooting for Tory Lanez to go to jail because in my mind, and I think I still probably feel that way, in my mind, I do feel as though he shot Megan Thee Stallion, but I don't feel as though he intentionally shot Megan Thee Stallion. That's the way I feel about the situation. I do know that because you did set off the shot that did eventually ricochet off Jesus or whoever it ricocheted off of. First they said you're shooting in the air, then you're shooting at the ground. If it ricocheted off Jesus or if it ricocheted off Satan, somehow or another it hit Megan in the hoof and she was damaged. So I said, I believe he did shoot her, but I never thought he intentionally shot her. So I admit, I was hoping that somehow it would turn out okay for both. Meaning, Megan wouldn't look like a liar and Tory wouldn't go to jail. So if they came back and said, you know, we believe her, but there's just not enough evidence to put this man in jail, I would have been fine with that. Because then Megan would not have looked like a liar if they would have came out and said, we believe her story, but honestly and legally, we can't lock this man up because we don't have enough evidence, even though we believe her story, right? It's just like a lot of people believed that Casey Anthony drowned her daughter. There was people on the jury that came out and said they believed that Casey Anthony drowned her daughter. However, they could not convict her because it just wasn't enough evidence. The same thing with O.J. Simpson. They spoke to people on the jury, and people on the jury said, I thought he was guilty. But it was reasonable doubt. It was too much reasonable doubt, and we just could not faithfully lock this man up. I believe the same thing happened with Diddy. Now, New Yorkers, I tend to say, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody else in any other state. I'm from New York, born and raised. I tend to think that we're just a tad bit smarter than everyone else. I'm sure everyone feels as though that about their state or where they're from. But I feel as though we're a little bit smarter and we just don't fall for anything. I've noticed a lot of these other people, they fall for the first thing they hear, or they'll fall for it if a blog says it enough times, and they'll fall for the AI and stuff. So I believe that that's what the government thought was going to happen in the Diddy trial. But remember, you are in New York. We don't fall for anything. You got to prove it to us. If you tell us that, you know, it's getting dark at 5 o'clock, and even though it got dark at 5 o'clock yesterday, we're going to wait, let's wait and see. Let me wait and see if it's going to really get dark tonight at 5. That's how New Yorkers roll. Yeah, I know it usually gets dark at 5. What's up, Lou? I know it usually gets dark at 5, but let's just make sure. That's how New Yorkers roll. We don't take nothing for granted. We don't believe nothing unless we see it. And that's what happened with the Diddy trial. Yeah, I know all y'all told us there was drugs in the baby oil, but was there really drugs in the baby oil? You're going to have to prove it to me. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. What's up, Lou? Shout out to everybody on Instagram, man. If you want to stay on Instagram so you don't miss the show, you can stay on Instagram. If you want to join us over on the ID Network on YouTube, come on over to YouTube. If you got a Twitch account and you want to tune in to Heaven How you like the way it looks on Twitch, go to Twitch. Go wherever makes you happy and comfortable. Some people at work and they're like, nah, I can't go on YouTube. I can hide Instagram. So stay on Instagram if that's what you choose. Just don't miss this show. Now, the Tory Lanez case and the reason why he failed in the appeal, there's a couple of reasons why, right? And I would have to say that Tory Lanez lost his case. What's up, Ivy? Lost his case. What's up, Rini? I believe Tory Lanez, hold on a minute. I have to talk to my people there. So everybody that's over on Instagram, if you have a YouTube account, you can come join us on YouTube, the IE Network. If you feel more comfortable watching and tuning in on Instagram, so you just don't want to miss the show, watch me on Instagram. I'm on Twitch, right? Facebook, wherever. Watch me wherever you feel comfortable. Now, because it was lit the other night. Real Talk. That's what's up. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. I like the Jeezy rib. We're gonna get into that, Ivy. We're gonna get into that. So Tory Lanez, I believe, lost his case because of his legal team and his stubbornness. And I believe he lost his appeal because of social media. And I'll let you know what I mean by that. All right, let's find Tory. I'm about to share my screen in a minute. But Tory Lanez. I guess I'll go to Megan Cuniff, even though everybody hates Megan Cuniff. But she wasn't even really the main one reporting on this. So Tory Lanez, man, he came up short. The California Court Appeal denies Tory Lanez. Let me share this with everybody. So Lou said she saw my brother and myself react to the new Michael Jackson trailer. And what'd you think about it? What'd you think about it? So everybody, make sure you'll check out me and my brother's reaction to the Michael Jackson trailer. What'd you think about that, Lou? So, and somebody said his team was low-key trash. Natalia, what's up, Natalia? You can join us on YouTube or on Instagram. You can stay on Instagram. So right here it says Tory Lanez is set to serve his full 10-year sentence after the court denied his appeal for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. So now let's remember that Tory Lanez got convicted of shooting off a pistol that was not licensed and reckless negligence with the gun. He didn't get, I know Tory Lanez fans, even though he's locked up, to me it's like he's locked up. What's the difference? But they feel a type of way when you say he got convicted for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. He didn't get convicted. Okay, so he didn't get convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. He got convicted of shooting off a gun that hit Megan Thee Stallion in the hoof. All right, so if you want me to say it that way, I'll say it that way. Now, the California Court of Appeal has affirmed Tory Lanez's felony conviction and 10-year prison sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. Megan could have said the appellate justices who affirmed Tory Lanez convictions and 10-year prison sentence to Megan Thee Stallion made clear that Kelsey's recorded interview was fair game just based on her purported witness stand memory lapse. So they are coming back with all their rebuttals for why Tory Lanez said that this needs to be appealed. Right? Now, y'all make that, hit that like button, please. And Lou said she's excited. Well, I'm excited as well, Lou. I'm excited. And y'all make sure y'all go to IE Network, check out me and my brothers, all of our reaction videos together on the breakdown. And got a lot of stuff on the IE Network. Now, here's this whole thing with Tory's appeal. He went, right, and he wanted to say that the court had mistakes, and they also did not allow his driver to testify. Okay? Now, their rebuttal to that was, well, it was Tory's team who did not allow his driver to testify. Over on Instagram, Lou says, I still do think that Tory will do the full 10 years. He might get out a little early, but please educate me. Who is Tory's legal team? I'm from the UK. Keep me up to speed. I'll definitely keep you up to speed with that, Lou. I'll explain to you who Tory's legal team is. Now, remember, what's up, Yasmin Cohen? You can stay on Instagram if you want, or you can come join us on the IE Network on YouTube. Now, let's not forget, Tory's legal team, who, to Lou and to anyone else, his legal team has changed 3 different times since this trial started. 3 different times. Right? So, when he first started, he had Sean Holly, right? He only had a couple, right? Sean Holly, and the guy who ended up doing the trial, he's got a long name. I have to remember his name. But they were the first one starting it. Now, Sean Holly was the main. Matthew Barhoma, I believe. Right? I think it was Matthew Barhoma, something like that. He had Sean Holly as well as that. Then Sean Holly told Tory Lanez, and this was another thing that he brought up that he tried to get on appeal. Sean Holly told Tory Lanez that she did not agree with the route that they were taking, which was blaming Kelsey Harris, who was out there in the car with them. That was Megan Thee Stallion's ex-best friend, and that was the whole thing about, he was smashing Kelsey, and then he was also smashing Megan, and they found out that night. So Sean Holly, who, if you know her, she is famously known from the OJ Simpson case when she was young. All right, so she was on Johnny Cochran's team as a legal aid or whatever, as legal or paralegal, but she was on the Dream Team. She's also known as a attorney for the Kardashians. Now, that to me is where the conflict of interest came in at, because if you don't remember, Tory Lanez at one point was going to request for Kylie Jenner to testify. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember that news. Remember at one point they were saying that Tory Lanez could call Kylie Jenner to the stand. If you remember that, put a one in the chat. If you remember that. What's up, Sasha? So at one time, and for the people on Instagram, at one point, they were saying Kylie Jenner was going to testify. Lou said she remembers. Sweet said she remembers. Everybody on YouTube, put a one in the chat on YouTube if you remember them saying that about Kylie Jenner. Now, Sean Holly is very close to the Kardashians. And the moment that she was the lawyer, I knew from there that there was no way that Kylie Jenner would ever testify. Right? There was no way. So Sean Holly told Tory Lanez, I don't think the Kelsey route is going to work. Yep, she was a Kardashian Jenner lawyer, right? She had no idea that it was going to work. I mean, she did not think it was going to work. But they went against it. Tory Lanez wanted to use, and the rest of his team wanted to use the Kelsey Harris route. So then I believe Sean Holly dropped out because they were trying to pressure Kylie Jenner. That's what I believe she dropped out for. But she said conflict of interest because she was saying that she didn't want to use that route. They were determined to use that route. So Sean Holly dropped out. Right? Of course, she was saying that she had another case, blah, blah, blah. But that's what really happened. Then he brought in the Matthew Bahama dude or whatever. Then there was some dude with some weird name. If anybody can get me all the Tory Lanez legal team, I would appreciate it. Then remember David Kenner? Remember at one point they said David Kenner was going to take over for Tory Lanez, and that was Death Row's ex-lawyer. He's like 80 years old though. Right? They said that David Kenner was going to take over. And I believe that was after the conviction. Then they brought in Jose Baez. And if you remember correctly, Jose Baez was the lawyer who got Casey Anthony off of murdering her child. So they brought him in. Right? They made about 4 or 5 different tweets, and that's how you can tell that Tory Lanez didn't really know what he was doing. He was looking for the reason why he got rid of David Kenner is because David Kenner was not, he's not a new school type of lawyer. He didn't want to use social media like David Kenner wanted to do it the old-fashioned way. But Tory Lanez wanted a guy like Matthew Bahama that will go out there and use social media and be talking to the people. That's what Tory Lanez wanted. And that is ultimately what got him found guilty. Because Tory Lanez was way too concerned with how social media and the court of public opinion looked at him. That's what he was more concerned with. And that is what literally got him locked up. Because what was a very big key piece of evidence? they used the Instagram post, right? When Tory Lanez said, somebody said, I believe that Kelsey shot her, right? And Tory Lanez ran to social media. Okay? This is before he even got arrested. Ran to social media and said, that's not true. And I don't care how much Tory Lanez tries to say that was not him. Sir, that was you. That was you. Because you was using that account. Why would Tory Lanez have somebody work in his account when it was him all through the time he was doing COVID radio, whatever the hell he was doing? When he was doing that, it was him using his social media. So why would it not be him now? All right? Sir, it was you. I don't buy that. So they tried to say that it was somebody else saying that. And even if it was somebody working Tory's account, he has people out there working his account and posting stuff without clearing it with him first. There's no way somebody would have went and said, that's not true about Kelsey without clearing that with Tory Lanez first. And Lou says the court of law don't give a damn about the court of public opinion. Some lawyers and judges get vexed when you bring social media games in their court. I understand that, Lou, and I totally believe that's what happened with this judge. Because Tory Lanez went on social media before Megan blamed him. He was on there trying to say, no, that's not true. Kelsey didn't do anything. And then Megan finally said, you know what? He's trying to play in my face. So I'm going to tell everybody what really happened. Right? If Tory Lanez would have just got off of social media, right? Got off of social media completely. I don't believe that he ever would have, I don't think Megan ever would have fingered him. Pause. I don't think she ever would have fingered him. All right? That's just my personal opinion. And I know people, oh, what did he say? Listen, you going back, and so she was saying that he was telling people behind the scenes, and also he was trying to pay Kelsey off, according to Megan. Behind the scenes, he was trying to pay Kelsey off. He was trying to tell him don't say anything and stuff like that, right? Then when people were asking him, he was saying, I didn't shoot her. I didn't do nothing to her, this, that, and the third, right? I believe if Tory Lanez would have simply just got off of social media, I don't believe we're here right now. That's just my personal belief, because Megan didn't say anything at first. All right? So once Tory Lanez sees that Megan Thee Stallion fingered him, pause, Tory Lanez should have, once he got arrested and charged, Tory Lanez should have said, what's the plea deal? What's the plea deal? Right? And if you're not going to take a plea, you better plan on taking the stand. It's got to be one or the other. Now, A$AP Rocky got away with it. Right? A$AP Rocky got away with it. But usually, if you don't take the stand and you don't take a plea, and there's a person coming to court pointing you out, more times than none, you go to jail. So A$AP Rocky didn't take a plea, and he didn't take the stand, and he ended up getting away with it. But that's very rare. Very rare. I don't know whether the people on the jury were Rihanna fans or what, but that's very rare. But Tory Lanez did not take the stand. He did not take the plea. And he winds up going to jail for 10 years. Now, the road that he took, what he, in between times, going to Megan's show, punching allegedly August Alsina, harassing Megan, trying to contact her, and stuff like that, making the album, and just all of those things, then having, whether he says he did it or not, people that were affiliates of yours was harassing Megan on the radio. What's up, Miss Sunshine? What's up, Tosti Don? Like I said, if you want to check me out on YouTube, come on over to YouTube, y'all, the IE Network. When was the last time to speak? He didn't, right? Plea deal. He'd be out. He would have been out by now. So the thing is this. Tory allowed these people in his back. Oh man, this just too, ain't no evidence, ain't enough evidence. You just go in there and tell them that she was just mad that you were smashing both of them, both of them. And they gassed him up to the point where he believed he was going to win that case. But as someone said, this case was not tried in the court of public opinion, and he ended up screwing himself. Let me tell you where Tory Lanez lost the case. Tory Lanez had this case won. Okay? He had this case won. But let me tell you where he lost the case. All right? Remember, Kelsey Harris, what's up to everybody over on Instagram? You can stay there or you can come and check me out on YouTube on the IE Network. Tory Lanez had won the case. Remember, Kelsey Harris was the prosecution's witness. She was the prosecution's witness. Kelsey Harris, who was the prosecution's witness, came on the stand and pretty much benefited Tory when she said, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember anything. I never saw Tory with the gun. I never saw him shoot Megan. She said she didn't shoot Megan either. But I never saw Tory shoot Megan, right? Now remember, that's the prosecution's witness. The prosecution's star witness pretty much flipped on him. Tory Lanez's legal team, at that point, after she said, I didn't see, did you see Tory Lanez shoot Megan Thee Stallion? No. I never saw Tory shoot Megan Thee Stallion. Tory Lanez's legal team was supposed to say, no further questions. Get Kelsey off that stand. Right? Get Kelsey off the stand and then say, you know what? We not calling nobody. This dude, Holly or whatever, or Sean Perry or Sean, whoever his name was, Sean Kelly, we changed our mind. We not calling him. We don't need to call him. Because Kelsey, who is their star witness, just said she can't place the gun in Tory's hands. The star witness said that for the prosecution. So Tory's legal team, if they were smart, would have said no further questions. And you know what, Your Honor? We're not calling. We're not calling. We changed our mind. We're not calling this witness. There would not have been enough evidence. What happened was, as we call it, they tried to hang on the rim. You know when somebody gets a great slam dunk or slams in somebody's face, and then they hang on the rim and get a technical foul, so you pretty much just took a point away? Or when somebody makes a great play in football, and then they taunt the person, right? They taunt the person, and then they get a penalty for it. So you just really took away the great play. That's what Tory Lanez lawyers did. They decided to keep going. And then they wanted to make the prosecution look guilty and stupid, and said, when Kelsey said she felt pressured to say what she said in that interview, they had already decided that the interview was not going to be used. But Kelsey then said, oh, she felt pressured. Who did you feel pressured by? Did you feel pressured by me? No. Were you pressured by Mr. Lanez? Mr. Peterson? No. Who made you feel pressured? The prosecution. So when she said that, the prosecution said, whoa, wait a minute. We didn't pressure you. And matter of fact, we got the interview here to prove it. Your Honor, they're trying to make it seem as though we pressured Kelsey Harris. Can we show this interview to prove that we didn't pressure her? So the judge, who had already said you wasn't going to use it, said, hey, I don't see why not. Plus, it'll help jar her memory if we replay what she says. And we want to see whether the prosecution was pressuring Kelsey. And then when they watched it, they saw that Kelsey, it was her idea to be with them. She wasn't pressured. She had someone with her. She answered all the questions, and she was suggested answers. So they were like, she wasn't pressured. So the defense hurt their own self. And then when the jury heard her interview, they said, well, wait a minute, this changes everything. So it was the defense that hung themselves. They didn't need that interview. And then to make matters worse, then their witness flipped on them and helped out Megan. Their witnesses did the opposite. The prosecution's witness ended up helping out Tory, and then the defense's witness ended up helping out the prosecution. Because Tory Lanez's defensive team wasn't smart enough to say no further questions, and we changed our mind. You see what Diddy's team did in his case, in his trial? They were like, we got Carisha to call, or we got Gina to call, or we got some other people to call. However, what's up, Bell? However, if the prosecution don't plead their case, we not going to call nobody. And Diddy's team didn't call nobody. And what ended up happening? What's up, Dangerous? And what ended up happening? They ended up winning. Right? Tory's team should have did the same thing. They lost their case when they tried to hang on the rim and rub it in. That's when they lost the whole entire case. And then you're talking about now you want the state of California to basically say that their jury, their judge, their court was corrupt. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say that. But I can't lie. Tory Lanez fans had me convinced. So he ends up losing his appeal. They're going to probably try to take it to a higher court, but I believe the Supreme Court is like a 2% chance. I think he's done. And he's just going to have to serve out his term. I think he has a chance for parole in 2029. So I think that's what he needs to be looking at. All right. Now, let's move on to Cardi B and then Nicki Minaj. Cardi B put out a collaboration It was her. It's a remix, right? And she's got a collaboration, a feature with the legend Young Jeezy. Now that is a collaboration I never saw coming. But when you think about it, who is Young Jeezy associated with? Jigga, right? He's associated with Rock Nation and Jay-Z. So it is not beyond my beliefs that Jay-Z said, hey, go jump on the record. I'll pay you, what have you. Now, according to Pop Flop, and we all know the Cardi B's album didn't do very well on Spotify anyway, Pop Flop says it earned only 33,000 streams on its first full day of Spotify. The song is called Time. And I'm going to tell you something. I liked it. Jeezy rode on it. What's up, Hundo? Lou said, in your opinion, when Tory Lanez gets out, what will his career look like? He'll have no career. If he gets out in 2029, he'll have no career. Music will be totally different. He wasn't all that popping before he got into the trouble with Megan. So you're talking another 7 years from now? 4 years. I mean, he'd have been jailed 6-7 years. Nah, he'll be done. He might come out and somebody may give him a shot, put him on a song, and they might, Tory Lanez first day back, but it's not going to last, right? We'll take a listen, a little bit of Jeezy on Time.
Got you, baby, you already know it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Jeezy went crazy on it. I'll definitely give him that.
Yeah. Flowing smooth as criminal Teddy P.
Jeezy sounds good. Come on. I hate when this happens. All right, so Jeezy went nuts on it.
Cardi B, I got you, man.
Well. I was surprised at the collaboration, but listen, Cardi B released a ultimate. I thought the other one was the ultimate, but she released an ultimate edition of Am I the Drama? What's up, Miss Marla? We're over on Instagram. We're over on YouTube. So this article says that Cardi B released the ultimate edition of her sophomore album, Am I the Drama, on November 12, 2025, adding 6 older hits, including Money, Please Me, Press, Bongos featuring Megan Thee Stallion. So that's now 2 joints with Megan Thee Stallion on it, which it should have been on it in the first place. The Like What freestyle, and Enough should have been on there as well. To expand the track list to 33 songs, I would have did that from the beginning, right? The release coincides with a remix of Time featuring Jeezy and Lotto, which debuted at number 18 on the U.S. iTunes singles and topped the hip-hop rap chart. Now, the original album was debuted at number 1 on the Billboard and earned 2 times platinum certification. Now projects to hold at number 11. So it's going to fall out of top 10 amid surging streams, with the ultimate edition topping U.S. overall. So it looks as though it's going to hold number 11, but chart data recently said, "Am I the Drama's challenging to break the record for most weeks in the top 10 for a female rap album on the Billboard 200 this decade." So I believe that would be breaking Pink Friday 2's, because I believe they're tied. Her and Pink Friday 2 has tied at 7 weeks or 6 weeks or what have you. But if she stays in the top 10 this one more week, it will break the record. I believe that she released the record 2 days too late. I think if she had did that last week, Friday, when the record came in at 10 again, I think if she would have released this last week, she would have stayed in the top 10. I don't think she gave this record enough time. And, that is what happens a lot of times when you're not planning properly. You can't release a song on a Wednesday, a Thursday, expect it to get up enough streams to keep your album where it is. So Cardi B and her team or whatever, they should have released this song last Friday when they saw, or at least last Monday, when they saw that the album was back at 10. Right? So I don't know if it'll have enough days to get back and stay in the top 10. So I wish she had released this on Monday or last week, and then I believe wholeheartedly she would have stayed in the top 10. But again, me personally, I can only judge by my taste, right? I tend to believe, I've been following hip-hop longer than some of you even been alive, longer than some of you been walking, right? So I tend to take my word and hold it in high regard because I know hip-hop music, right? If I was around here as a little boy listening to music before hip-hop, right? Don't matter if I was 3, 4, whatever the case may be, before hip-hop, then I tend to think I know a little something about hip-hop, right? When it comes down to music, I don't play favorites. I don't give a damn who put the record out. If the record is hot to me, I don't care whether I don't really rock with that artist. I'm going to say, yo, that shit was hot. I don't particularly think Ice Spice is all that talented, but I'm sorry. You think you're the shit, bitch? You're not able to fuck. Nothing going on. But that shit fire. I don't give a damn what nobody said. That shit is fire. And when you are out and that shit comes on, that shit rumbles the club. Rumbles. So regardless of what you think of Ice Spice, when that you think you the shit come on, and you out at the club, that shit thumps. So when it comes to music, I'm going to judge it down the middle. I don't give a damn whether I like them or not. I'm the biggest Prince fan you'll ever find, but I will say Prince put out some trash. There was some albums of Prince that was trash. Now, I bought it because I'm a Prince fan. I'm going to support. But I'm not going to say everything Prince ever put out was dope. That's a lie. So, but this Cardi B album, I don't wait on the charts. I don't wait on reviews. I got ears, right? And I can judge it myself. And to me, as far as quality goes, and I said it before and I'll say it again, as far as quality goes, it was a better album than Pink Friday 2. It was a better album than Invasion of Privacy, to me. I played this album already I've played this album probably 2 times as much as I played Invasion of Privacy. And the whole entire time Invasion of Privacy's been out. I think this album was better, quality-wise. Now, it didn't sell like Invasion of Privacy, of course not. But to me, it was a better album. Now, people are still, they're going to go around, they're going to try to run with the whole, it was a flop. So I don't really know what you guys categorize as a flop. But if the album, right, what's up with Decor? If the album stayed in the top 10 the same amount of weeks that Pink Friday 2 did, and Pink Friday 2 did 228, and this album did 200, 199, whatever you want to say, right? How is Pink Friday 2 not a flop if it stayed in the top 10 the same amount of weeks, right? And both albums went to number 1, right? Pink Friday 2 debuted at number 1, I believe. This album debuted at number 1. It was separated by 28,000 copies. It's not like it was separated by 280,000 copies. Separated by 28,000 copies. That's roughly about 12 hours. Right? So, I don't consider this album a flop at all. You sell 200,000 copies or 199,600, 199,600, whatever. Whatever it is. And then you look at everyone else who's dropped albums that everybody's going gaga over. Everybody's going gaga over Young Boy, right? Everybody was going gaga over 21 Savage when he dropped. What did 21 Savage do? How many records did he sell? How many records did Young Boy sell first week? And people are going nuts over these people. So, if I've sold the second most amount out of all the female rappers, how is that a flop? You're just only one person sold more music than you, and that happens to be the most popular female rapper probably ever. Right? I came into the game, I've only been in the game 8 years this year. And the only person who's outselling me and the only person who made more money than me was in the game 8 years more than I've been in the game. I don't consider that a flop at all. I don't consider that a flop. I don't understand how people can do it. I really believe that they don't really think it's a flop, but they don't like Cardi B. And because she said she was going to, I'm going to outsell your fave or whatever comment she made, they still say, oh, she didn't outsell Nicki Minaj. Okay, so she didn't outsell Nicki Minaj. Of course she was trying to outsell. Everybody should be trying to outsell the person ahead of them. That should be everybody. Just everybody don't got the balls to say it. You don't think Doja Cat was trying to outsell the other girls? Of course she was. You don't think Doja Cat wanted to outsell Nicki Minaj or wanted to outsell Cardi B? She just didn't. So the fact that she said she was going to outsell her, and she did not, I never thought she was going to. Like I said, I didn't predict 200K. She did better than I even predicted. Right? What's up, Lou? What's up, Yana? What's up, Sims? What's up, Sweet? Weezy! So she did better than even I predicted. And that's what I do. I listen to the music. You know, I don't like Bia, but I'm sorry. Whole Lot of Money, even before Nicki Minaj got on it. I was already playing that song before Nicki got on it. I used to play Whole Lot of Money every day. That shit was a bop. I play Glorilla's music. To me, Glorilla, and I love Cardi B, but to me, Glorilla, until Cardi put this album out, was putting out the best music. I listen to Glorilla every day. Right? Now, I don't necessarily like the new song Spice put out. I think the new song is pretty crappy. But that You Think You the Ish, the other joint she had, Munch, and then the one after Munch, she had like 3 or 4 joints that was banging. So I judge by the music. Lou says people still view Cardi as a stripper, love and hip hop star, but the woman has put out a good album. Was better than the first one. I agree. Totally agree. Hev, why A-listers don't collab no more like us and Beyonce and many more? What happened to the gatekeepers? Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Let me go up and check out some of these comments. Okay. It was Wish Lotto and Cardi did new verse. So Stella said she was Lotto and Cardi did a new verse on the remix. Right? Let's see here. I want to know why Rihanna didn't go to the Chris party. We'll touch on that. Rihanna was invited to the Chris Jenner party from what I hear. But Rihanna don't really mess with them like that. Rihanna don't mess with the Kardashians like that. She hates Kendall. So she wasn't going to go. Ice got dope beats. She does. I love her beats. Doja Cat was a flop. Yeah, Doja Cat's album did flop. It just disappeared. Yeah, Miss Fields said the same thing that I said. Rihanna don't like Kendall. The ASAP thing, the whole dynamic. She never really liked Kendall. Stella Stone, because an added old song to chart longer. Hey, everybody's doing it though. So again, you can't complain about it when Cardi B does it, but be okay with it when other people do it. Nicki Minaj does the same thing. Taylor Swift does the same thing. Like, they do the same thing. They're not the only one. I mean, Cardi B ain't the only one that does that. There's a whole lot of people that do that. And they do it to chart longer. I don't see anything wrong with that. You want your songs to chart longer. That's like when people, oh, he only said that to get clicks and views. Well, duh. That's what we're on YouTube for, ain't it? Ain't we on YouTube to get clicks and views? I don't know why the hell y'all on YouTube, but I'm on YouTube for clicks and views. So when people say, oh, he's only saying that to get clicks and views. Duh. Why the hell you think we on here? Everybody's on YouTube to get clicks and views. Or else you wouldn't be on YouTube. Right? Oh, start back to doing Latino news again? I am. I got my T Latino correspondent, and we're going to get back to doing it, Lou. Yeah, most definitely. Miss Field says, I love this album from Cardi. I listened to this album from the beginning to end. I haven't did that since the DMX album. Woo! Brian B is not a legacy act, no new hits. She is Little Kim 2.0. Well, if she's Little Kim 2.0, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And I don't think anyone said she was a legacy act. I wouldn't consider her a legacy. I think she hasn't been around long enough to be considered a legacy act. But the if you're saying that a top 10 song isn't a hit, okay, then I guess she has no new hits. But I didn't a song from that album go top 10. I thought that top 10 was hits, but I guess now when it's Cardi B, it's not a hit. But when it's anyone else, it's a hit. Okay. And calling her Lil Kim 2.0, that is definitely not a dig. I'm sure there's a lot of female rappers that wish they could be Lil Kim 2.0. Cardi has absolutely no problem with charting. She's the second biggest. Right, that's true. That's true. I never knew that being the second of anything was garbage. I'm just now finding that out with Nicki Minaj fans. I didn't know that second, especially the only time second would be garbage is if there was only two people. But there's a whole lot of female rappers and a whole lot of rappers in general that puts out music. And only one female rapper is selling more than her. Heaven, Bia put out an album recently. Was it any good? I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. I didn't listen to the Bia album. I listened to like the first 4 songs. I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, Bia, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Bia. Like, she can get me for one song, but it's like after that, I don't really rock with her. Sim says Cardi's that girl because she is talked about every day. I do agree with that. Darius, we're going to get to your question about the A-listers. What's up, Diana Young? Have they know it wasn't a flop? It's the massive positive interactions Cardi received from the media that has just a small portion of people bothered. Yeah, I think a lot of people were bothered by the fact that she did receive positive response from media. We're not talking about from fans of her ops. Of course, they're not going to give her positive reviews. Dana says, say what you want, Cardi. She has a TikTok and Instagram on lock. Right? Cardi's still the drama. She's had a break. The industry boring. No A-listers collabing. So here is my thing. There's no A-listers, right, collabing with anyone else is because most of the A-listers are pop girls, right? The A-listers that are in hip hop and R&B, how many of them are there still really around? You got Drake, you got Kendrick, right? You got Beyonce, you got Rihanna, who's not making music. The other A-listers are pretty much OGs, right? LL, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas. Now, Nas has done some collaborations, but back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, people used to collab together. You would see big names, Lady Gaga and Beyonce. Now, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars is pretty big, right? But that's not an R&B hip-hop A-list collaboration, right? And a lot of it now has to do with just money and budget. Because you have to figure an A-lister like a Mariah Carey, right? Mariah Carey, and she just put an album out. I'm not sure who's on her album, but she just put an album out. But someone like a Mariah Carey who knows that in this generation, she's not going to sell many records, you're going to have to make it worth her while. Like you're going to have to probably pay her what she knows she's not going to get back from going into the studio, singing a verse or writing a half a song, whatever. You're going to have to make it worth her while. And a lot of these record labels and stuff like that, they're not willing to pay them their worth. The other thing is branding. A lot of the A-listers, they're not really down with what a lot of these artists of today is doing. So they're not really willing to do it, right? Well, Lou said only a few R&B A-listers, like Summer Walker. I don't know if I really consider her A, and I definitely wouldn't consider Chloe an A. They're probably B, right? Summer Walker, you know, as far as an R&B act, is she an A-lister? I probably still wouldn't say she's an A-lister. She's close. She's close as far as the R&B world goes, but I really couldn't say she's an A-lister. I think the only A-listers in R&B that we have are OGs. I think Mary J. Blige. I think Beyonce. You know, it's rare. Chris Brown. But they don't have the relationships they had in the 80s and 90s. They have the relationship, right? They don't have the relationships. Right. Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey came together. That's crazy. Excuse me, guys. So, you know, Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. Look at all of the collabs in the 80s and 90s. Usher and Beyonce, early 2000s. I think early 2000s is when it stopped. You don't see Usher and Beyonce. Now, Usher and Chris Brown did do a record together, you know, in the last 10 years, I believe. So they came together. So you still get it. You don't get it as much, but you still get it. You know, Bruno and Lady Gaga, you still get it, but not nearly as much as you used to. All right. And we're going to switch on over. That's the thing on Cardi B. And, real quick, people want me to ask about the Cardi B Roc Nation connection. Now, it had been discussed, right? And I'll just tell people, I believe I told my members only in a video a long time ago. Cardi B and Jay-Z and Beyonce had already had a conversation about her going on Roc Nation. And the reason why I don't buy the whole story about, they're mad because I didn't sign on with Roc Nation, right? Well, Doja Cat left Roc Nation. Jay-Z still loves Doja Cat. Cardi B, when she was in that situation with her manager right after her first album, Jay-Z asked Cardi B to join Roc Nation as management. Cardi B, that's when she was going through that time when she didn't have a manager. Remember, about 3 years ago, she didn't have a manager, and she was thinking about signing on with Roc Nation. But then at the last minute, she decided not to. Right? They had Megan. You know, she really didn't want to congest that situation. She's like, y'all already got your girl, or what have you. No, I'm just gonna find another route. But Beyonce and Jay-Z didn't start hating on Cardi B. So that's the reason why I don't really buy the whole, oh, they're doing this to Nicki because he turned them down. But when Nicki has said multiple times on records, he's the only one I would have signed to. Spoke to Jay the other day. He's still the kingpin. He's the only one I would have signed to if I didn't sign the Wayne's big team, whatever. So I don't believe all that. I don't believe in rewriting history. Nicki Minaj has already said multiple times that she would have signed to Jay-Z if she wasn't already signed to Lil Wayne. So a few years ago, when she asked him to sign to Roc Nation, how would she have done that if she was already signed? Right? So I just don't buy that. Right? And again, she said several times that she's obsessed with Jay-Z. She said that out of her own mouth. I'm obsessed with Jay-Z. Oh, I take what Jay-Z says in high regards. Oh, when him and Beyonce came, and when Beyonce said that she liked my stuff, I didn't even realize that she even knew who I was when she asked me to get on her record. All of this stuff is less than 10 years ago when she made these comments. So what changed? Jay-Z's still the same guy. Jay-Z's been the same guy. If like I said before, if you believe that Jay-Z is a devil worshiper now, you've always felt that way because he has always acted the same. And he came into the game saying, I've never read the Bible a day in my life. The nigga had a song called Lucifer. The ninja had a song called The Evils. So what makes you think he wasn't worshiping the devil back then? If you say he worships the devil now. Jay-Z ain't changed in the last 2-3 years. He's been this way. And Marla, it's interesting that you said that. Now, listen. Again, man, people always want to brush off things this woman says. But when you judge what Nicki has always said in the past and what have you, and we're going to get into the Maga stuff. But I have this pent. And after seeing all of this, I'm sorry, I believe it. So hold on. Wait a minute. It's my profile. Because something that I think Marla just said it. Now, a lot of y'all will remember. Damn. A lot of y'all remember when his first job. Damn, what is going on here? All right. All these damn pages. Need to close some of these bitches out. So when you think about and remember, Jay-Z always made a comment saying, when people dislike me and you ask them why, he said it's always about something they're complaining that I didn't do for them. Right? It's never about what I did to them. It's always about what I didn't do for them. And I believe that. I believe that. Look into Rico Dana. He's signed to a whack label as a cover. He's her ghostwriter. Dig a little bit, you'll catch the clue. So Terwood, I'm not going to say that you're wrong about that. I'm not going to say that that's not true. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. In 2025, everybody's using a writer, right? Everybody's using some sort of writer. So it really don't even make a big deal to me anymore because people have already decided, and I'm going to cut off of Instagram and join us over on YouTube. People have already decided that they're cool with ghostwriters and they're cool with collaboration. So I don't even really care that much anymore, right? And again, I'm not saying that it's not true, but all of these girls are using a writer for something. Now, I'm not going to sit and try to take credit for them and rappers like Nicki Minaj, Lotto, even Cardi B, or I'm not going to say that people are writing bars for them, right? But helping them with songs and giving them a line or two, yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that that's happening at all. But I've been around Nicki Minaj long enough, and I feel the same way about Drake. You know, at some point, she was writing her own rhymes. So if you were writing your own rhymes, remember, she turned down a major deal because they wanted somebody to be her ghostwriter. And that's before she had money. All right? So if anybody was going to get a ghostwriter, it would be the time where they didn't have no money. And she turned down a big record deal with Warner Brothers because they wanted to use a ghostwriter. So I know for a fact that Nicki Minaj can write bars. All right. So, but the landscape of music has changed. And it's no longer about, you're no longer just an MC. It's no longer about how well you rap, or how well you, and it is now the music business. The music business. So if your record label says, listen, they want a melodic song, that's what's in right now, and you can go work with Esther Dean or Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke is a master at producing these melodic pop rap songs. That's what we want you to do. That's where you're going. And if you're under that label and you're signed to that label, if they tell you you're working with Dr. Luke, you're working with Dr. Luke. Now, if you don't want to listen to your label, you go independent. But if they tell Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or whoever else, hey, I'm going to bring in Leon Thomas. Leon Thomas is on fire right now. And he's going to help you with a song called Mush. And even if you've been writing your lyrics your whole entire life, you're in a contract and music has changed, and they got all these people doing all these analytics, and this song's, this person has hit the chart the last 10 times, and this, that, and what. You're going to do a song with whoever the hell they say you're going to do a song with. And if they're going to have them writing on your song, guess what? They're going to be writing on your song. That's how labels work. Right? They give you a little bit of freedom and say what's, a lot of times labels pick single. You see what Cardi B said, right? She didn't want to do Outside as the first single. The label made her put Outside the first single. See? She said she wanted Imaginary Players to be the first single and video. She think it would have hit harder. But they said no, Outside. And guess who wins over in the end? The people who's pushing the money. Right? This is what I wanted to find before my computer started going nuts so on me. Dun, 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 dun. Do you remember when we really know you were young and innocent? So, Nicki Minaj and the whole this MAGA thing, right? This whole MAGA thing. So as we know, a couple of weeks ago, Nicki Minaj came out and she was in full support of the job Donald Trump doing over in Nigeria, right? For what he was doing with Nigeria, what have you. And she reposted and she said, "Thank you, President, for, what you're doing over in Nigeria." Now, that to me wasn't bad, right? That to me wasn't bad. I didn't consider that as bad. And then I didn't even really consider that as the coming out party to, oh, she's MAGA. Like I said, I've always thought it. I've always thought it anyway. Right? So anyway. But then recently when they posted this thing of Donald Trump, and I'll tell you, I'm so tired of this whole Nicki Minaj, Donald Trump thing, but people are still talking about it and it's still viral. So you have to talk about it because it's current events. You have to talk about it. Me personally, if people wasn't talk about it, I would not be talking about it. So right here it says, Nicki Minaj reposts White House video on Trump's achievements and faces fan backlash. So now Pop Fusion says, now I don't know if this is true, but Pop Fusion says Nicki Minaj lost over 600,000 followers on Twitter following her recent support of Donald Trump. and her appalling behavior toward a fan who expressed their disapproval of working under the Trump administration. Now, the TikTok that she reposted said, and it has been a president who, what does it say here? And it has been a president, and just to inform everybody, most people say this is not true, right? But it says, and it has been a president who prioritized Americans, no men and women sports. Borders closed. Our cities are safer than ever. That's not true. Criminal illegals are being deported. Not just criminal illegals. You got illegals being deported who aren't criminals. Gas prices are low. Not true. World peace. Not true. Right? So the only thing you may hear about that is borders is closed and criminal illegals are being deported. But it's not just criminal illegals. Nicki Minaj reposted that. Now, there were other things on there, but only thing everybody saw was the transphobic post of no men in women's sports. So now Nicki Minaj reposts out honoring Donald Trump's achievements. All right. I can't believe we're living in a time when Nicki Minaj is a Trumper. What happened to the island gal, Donald Trump? Want me go home, Nicki? Nicki being the first immigrant black female rapper to thank Trump, a true Maga. After Nicki Minaj publicly aligns herself with Donald Trump and denounced the Democratic Party, Democrats won of the seats, most of the seats. I don't think that had anything to do with Nicki Minaj. Bob sit on this app every day calling Beyonce MAGA, Taylor Swift fans racist Nazi, when Nicki Minaj is openly praising Donald Trump and Republicans. Well, they just really started calling Beyonce MAGA once she sat at they blew out of proportion that dinner that had Trump's daughter at it. Before that, they were saying that she was down with Kamala. But they just started really calling her MAGA once they seen that dinner. And they made a big deal out of it because Trump's daughter, not Trump, Trump's daughter was there. At the same time, Trump was still calling for Beyonce to be arrested. So I definitely don't think Beyonce is MAGA when you got Trump saying Beyonce should be arrested for taking money from Kamala. Then you got, I can't get behind Nicki in this Donald Trump S. Nicki Minaj is absolutely obsessed after Donald Trump hopped on the Gen Z train, sharing a TikTok feature her viral sound just a day after she praised him for handling the chaos in Nigeria. She said, the president and first lady of the United States of America. Barbs, I don't know which one of you uploaded this, the White House, TikTok. I don't know what timeline we're on right now. I'm just going with the flow. She also said, Barbs, make sure that you get at me before I go to the United Nations. Listen. Do I have a problem with Nicki Minaj being a Donald Trump supporter? No, I do not. And I'll tell you why. Because I expect, if not all, I expect most celebrities who are millionaires, I expect them to root for Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump looks out for the rich. And Nicki Minaj is rich. Right? So if she gets and acts so dope she's behind Donald Trump, a lot of people say she can't even vote. I think she made a comment like, oh, all this time I didn't think I could vote. And I found out that was wrong. So if that's true, that means she has not been voting all this time. But what it does is not everybody knows that she doesn't vote. And a lot of times these celebrities don't really vote. But if they can make other people who do vote believe that they are supporting this person, they can get people to vote. Did Taylor Swift, I mean, are we sure? Are we sure that Taylor Swift really took her time to go out and vote or mail in? Are we sure she did that? We don't know whether she did that or not. But she told people, oh, I support Kamala Harris. So that made all her fans go support Kamala Harris. Or some of them. Now, there was some Taylor Swift fans that admitted, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I like Taylor, but I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. There are some racist Swifties. And there are some Swifties that said, I'm just not voting, or I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. So I really don't care whether she's MAGA or not, right? But what I do care about is if you are trying to use Donald Trump as some way of making your Rock Nation and Jay-Z takes or opinion seem more valid, right? I'll have an issue with that. Like, your takes or your opinions or your words on Jay-Z and Rock Nation, you just being Nicki Minaj, you should make sure that it's valid. You should make sure that what you're accusing Jay-Z of, he really did. And you can prove it. That's my whole thing. My whole thing is we got to the point where when you ask for proof, people take that as an insult. Because we're so used to just going off of what everybody says. Oh, there was drugs in the baby oil. Oh, yep, he was drugging people with that baby oil. Oh, there was minors at the party. Yep, Diddy's the PDF. He's got celebrity sex tape everybody. He's holding over their heads. Yep, that's what's going on. All these celebrities are quiet because Diddy got sex tapes to them and he's holding that over everybody's head. Everybody ran with those stories and they saw no proof whatsoever. No proof. Then when the trial came and they don't see none of those things, they start saying, oh, they covering it up. No, it never existed. It never existed. They're not covering it up. It never existed. Just come out and tell your real issue with Jay-Z. If you are obsessed with Jay-Z, if you wanted Jay-Z, and some of the stories that I used to hear, people can believe it or not believe it, but some of the stories I used to hear that she was feeling Jay-Z. I mean, Nicki Minaj has been talking about Jay-Z for many years. Many years. If you're mad that he signed Megan and you feel as though he signed Megan to get at you, say that. But don't create false narratives, and then when that narrative never comes out, say, oh, Rock Nation must have paid them not to say nothing, or Rock Nation paid to have it covered up. Just say what your issue is. Don't use MAGA. Don't use your fan base, because you know you pissed a lot of them off. And everyone knows by now, when Nicki first came out, she totally used the LGBT community. And hey, I don't really have an issue with it. I'm going to be honest with you, because, you use what you got to get what you want. And when she first came out, she tried to say, no, I'm only signing ladies' titties. I'm only signing women's breasts. And then I'm not signing any men's autographs. That made people, oh, she must like girls. So that made a lot of women thinking, Nicki go both ways. And she started getting more and more male barbs. So they start figuring Nicki supports the LGBT community. But the whole entire time, from what I've always known, and like I said, I had not been around her since 2010. But from what I've always known and always heard in the industry, Nicki Minaj has never been into women. Never. My cousin grew up with her. And he said, Nicki ain't never been into no girls. My cousin grew up with her. And he confirmed a long time ago, this whole Nicki signing breasts, that was all a gimmick. He said, Nicki ain't never been into no women. So when the LGBT community starts complaining and going off on her, and she's like, oh, imagine you try to turn this into something about you, and we're talking about Nigeria, and you try to turn this into you being gay, and then the person gets all offended, and oh my God, and I'm not going to be a fan of Nicki Minaj no more. Half of her fan base is LGBTQ. Well, that's because y'all allowed her to make you believe that she was such of backing of that community. When I truly think that Nicki Minaj really just supported that community for their support. The same way how I feel that my favorite artist ever, I feel as though Prince purposely never admitted until later of being straight, until he had already developed a fan base and he was a legend. Then he started coming out about, I've never been bisexual. I've never been homosexual. But when Prince first started and was building his brand, he had a song called Controversy where he said, am I black or white? Am I straight or gay? Controversy. He used that because he did not want to alienate his gay fan base. He did not want to alienate his bisexual fan base. Right? So why should I do that? Why should I come out and say, no, you're wrong. I'm not gay. If you have a huge gay fan base, you come out and say that, you're going to alienate that gay fan base, more than likely. So I think that Nicki never came out and said that because she didn't want to alienate her gay fan base. But she's at a point now where I don't think she can't get any bigger. This is the ceiling where she's at, right? The only way she can get bigger is by doing what she's doing now. If people from Maga start listening to her music when they never did before, right? But then you're going to also lose some of your original fan base. But I think Nicki Minaj has already hit her peak. So she can do it now. She's 43 years old or turning 43 years old. So what does she care now? Now she's figuring, oh, they've been my fan base for so long. Even if I do say something to piss off the LGBTQ community, they're not going to stop supporting me because they've been supporting me so long. It's just, it's just reflex now. That's what I truly believe. And a lot of people saying, oh yeah, if she's doing this, when her album comes out, that album's going to flop. No, it's not. No, it's not. That album ain't going to flop. It's not going to flop because you got fan base. I've even seen gay fans of hers that still ain't mad at her. They're not mad at her. So there's going to be more people who are supporting her than who aren't. Right? And they will find a way to make an excuse for what other people are considering transphobia, homophobia, whatever. Those fans are going to be like, oh, no, she's not, just like you saw them doing. Oh, she wasn't congratulating Trump. She was talking about the situation in Nigeria. Right? But if you're reposting Trump and you're saying thank you to Trump, you're praising Trump. What the ulterior motive is it the federal case that her husband got? The federal case of everybody saying, oh, he's not federal. Yes, the federal case is the one where he failed to register. That's a federal case. If she can get that wiped off by just being nice to Trump, she's going to try to do that. Right? You see, Jay-Z stopped talking about Trump and stopped investing in the Democrats when he wanted Desiree Perez pardoned. What happened? He went to Trump, said, I'll stop publicly supporting the Democrats if you can pardon Desiree. Jay-Z stopped publicly supporting the Democrats. And what happened? Trump pardoned Desiree Perez. And I believe that's what Nicki's looking for. I believe she wants to get that failure to register removed from her husband's record, because that is like it goes away. It's like it never happened. So that's why I believe she's after. We'll see if it works. All right. But shout out to the QOR. Shout out to Cardi B. All right. And Tory Lanez, you have to deal. You got to do your time now, looks like. I know you're going to probably try to appeal again, but, I bet you wish you had testified now. Right? But you can't that's the whole thing. You let social media jam him up. Let social media jam him up. And I would, again, for one more time for the people that was in the nosebleed seats that couldn't hear me, I don't have an issue with Nicki Minaj supporting Donald Trump. I don't have an issue because I always thought she did anyway. I always thought she did anyway. The moment I heard her say she was against vaccines, I said, okay, so she's a Trump supporter. And plus, we already know what Donald Trump does for the rich. He helps the rich. I believe a lot of people who aren't saying so are Trump supporters. Right? Because at the end of the day, everybody wants what benefits their pockets. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you, everybody. I got to go get this crazy kid of mine. Tomorrow is the weekend starts. We're going to be doing our long stream, 3-4 hours, or however time permits. Y'all make sure y'all go check out my videos on the IE Network. Also, if you want to support the channel, send a cash app to $Heaven Hollywood. Any requests for me and my brother for our reaction videos, just send the request to the IE Network at gmail.com. If you guys want to request a reaction, if you want the reaction done right away, just send a cash app with your request, and we will push it to the front of the line. All right. It's your boy, Heaven Hollywood. Thank everybody. Thank my moderators, Darius, Miss Fields. I don't know who else popped in here, but thank everybody for tuning in. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.